everybody out there, it's Dave with DII. We are live today on YouTube and Facebook. We're going to be talking today about harmony. Harmonizing with yourself, with others.
With others, yes.
And with the universe.
Oh, yeah, actually, I've had a lot of talks lately, and things have been weird. It's like,
really?
It's like harmony is like a cool thing. I know we talked about rhythm was the first one, melody, and then harmony. And actually,
and this is part of the four principles.
The four
right?
principles, yes.
So we've talked about four principles. We're doing a series on the four principles of music, and the first one was harmony.
Yes.
We did an episode on melody, and now we're doing harmony, and then the final one's going to be silence, right?
Right.
But we're not going to talk about that.
We're not going to talk about silence.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. Actually, I'm excited because we're starting early this morning because Dave had something to do today. But it's awesome. This is like the live show is cool because you guys can watch it later on anyways.
That's right.
So
That's right.
you know, and we love to share, and we don't want to pass up the opportunity to actually share with you this information because. For me, I feel it's very important, especially with the handpan. You know, with a lot of new people buying the handpan or getting into music, I think these four principles help understand, you know, what you're doing. And harmony is actually, it's a really cool. What was I going to say about harmony? There's something I was going to say something about harmony, but we'll just get into it. And if you guys haven't seen the book. It's Music Medicine. I didn't bring it today, but Music Medicine by Christine Stevens. I believe there's some links to some sheets below with the four principles in it, and it has her information on the bottom. So it's a great book. You should read it, especially if you're into music, because these four principles have absolutely changed the way you think about music. It's pretty crazy. I'm just like, and I can't wait to share. It's like one of those things when you hear something and then you're like, oh yeah, this is it, and you just want to share it. And you know, all the customers I've talked to about it are off. You know, they love it. I was just talking to Malia in Hawaii, and just give her a shout out. She just bought a new ohm. Actually, it's probably over here.
Oh, there it is.
Is this it?
Yep.
Oh yeah, this is it. And she's excited. She's excited about it, and we were talking about the four principles, and she loves what we're talking about.
Oh yeah.
So cool. So harmony. Actually, I like to hear from Dave because I've been the one talking about it, and again, like you know, I have not been musically trained. Dave has been musically trained. So like our combination of thoughts, I believe, is like a cool
great.
thing.
Yeah.
You know what we're talking about. So. We've talked about rhythm, we talked about melody, so what do you think about those two? Let's just go back over that.
All right,
Dave's got
before I talk about that stuff, got to do business.
Oh yeah, let's
All
do
about
business. All right, yeah.
So don't forget to like and subscribe, right?
Yes.
All of you out there, like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. It'd be great to hear from you. Also, you can comment while we're talking today. So if you have any comments or questions, it looks like we already have one there.
Oh yeah. I'm gonna
let us know because it'd be great to hear from you. It also makes the interaction of the live show that much more rich. So the conversation becomes really fun when we have questions from the audience. So please let us know what you think and if you have any questions. All right. Oh, let's see. What does it say?
Let's see what they said. We have Tonya Green. Hi, Tonya. Aloha. Jeff Brown. He said, great that you started early today. Book is great. All right. Hi, guys.
Starting early. That's right, man. All right.
Early bird gets the worm.
That's right. Yeah, right. Thanks for your comments, you guys. All right, so Daniel was just asking me what my idea of harmony is, right? Okay, so obviously the definition of harmony that I'm familiar with is two or more notes played together. So if you have one note, there's really no harmony there, it's just one single note. Mm-hmm. So you have to have two of something to have harmony, right?
Interesting, yeah, actually,
then you have like three or four things, you can create chords, that sort of thing. So let's say just like we have a D here, and that's just a note. There's no harmony there really. Mm-hmm. Now if I add F, now you've got harmony, right? So that's our simple definition, or it doesn't matter any of these notes. So if I play a D with any of these notes,
Colorado's calling.
E, C, any of these notes, that's going to be a harmony with D. Or you could even say it's a harmony with the D is a harmony with the other note. Then you could also say, well, I'm going to have three notes, like that. Those three notes are harmonizing together. So you can see that basically, again, it's just two or more notes played together. Do they have to sound like perfect harmony notes? Like I think a lot of people conceive of harmony as this, usually in musical terms, it's thirds. Thirds or sixths. Oh, so wow. Which I started with.
I didn't know that.
So da 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 da, right? Or da 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 da, la 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 la. It sounds very pleasing to our Western ears, right? But it doesn't have to be that. It could be something else, where it's that could be harmony too, but it doesn't quite sound as pleasing as that, right?
Got it.
It could also be this, right? And that sounds dissonant to our ears. Sounds a little bit off, a little bit edgy.
Yeah.
But again, it's harmony. And if you put it together with other notes, all of a sudden it kind of sounds cool.
No, that's kind of cool that you did that. Like if you're dissonant and then like you add another two chords and then they're fine. That's weird.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that's happening.
So harmony again is just two or more notes played together, essentially. But then we can get into like all of the other.
There's like a lot of
interesting stuff that might come up in the book that aren't just like the stuff that I've learned in a book or in a classroom. Harmonizing with yourself.
I like to hear, because like from a music standpoint, I think sometimes like you get it from the book, but you just don't really look into it. Like, you know, like we're talking about what is rhythm, what is melody. Like music people know this, it's just we never deal deep into it like in that way. And like for harmony, this is the definition that a music person would think, and that's all. You know what I mean? And like how, but in music, we know that it affects you, like healing wise. You know, makes you feel good. Why is this? And that's why we're here today, and it's pretty awesome. I love to hear what Dave has to say, because, in a way, you can take that as a just a way, like, you know, and then use it in life. Like, hey, you have two notes. Now, like for example, in harmony, what Christine is talking about actually is the expression of your soul, your desire for balance and connection. And like for harmonies, like two notes going together is the same thing. You know, they're trying to always harmonize. Sometimes you get dissonance, but you have to add some like a different thing. So that's like harmony is, that's what it says in the book. The first thing it says, expression of your souls, desire for balance and connection. So wow, that's pretty cool, because that harmony is coming from your soul. And I actually, what did I write? There was a thing actually in here. She talks about rhythm is you're incubated in rhythm. So like rhythm to me, as you're playing an instrument, say it's the handpan, that's what we're talking about today, is you're incubated in, meaning that's where your practice is. You know, you're learning how to, you know, get in touch with your body, and that's what rhythm is for playing the handpan. The next one would be melody, and we're born in melody. Basically, that I think it's the rebirth of finding yourself, because the melody notes are you trying to express yourself. So you're using the handpan to actually express yourself, which is awesome. And then now, a harmony is the evolution of that. Now for rhythm and melody, you're working on me, like yourself, right? Now you move into harmony and it's we.
Right.
And it's kind of like we were talking about the healing qualities of instruments. Now you can play for yourself, be meditative. And the crazy part is, I was talking to Malia the other day, and the stories of, like, I love to hear stories about like how people like find the handpan, and it's the same one. She was like, yeah, I heard it on like YouTube or Facebook, and then I just had to find out what it was. I did, and then there it was, and I was just like, oh my god. So the we part of it is that person that was playing on Facebook didn't know that they were going to affect somebody like that to buy a handpan. So that's the harmony, like you felt harmony from that experience. So it's pretty awesome. Like I love the fact of we. I think one of the things as I was playing, especially like ukulele, in the beginning and playing with others, it was a weird experience.
Mm-hmm.
You know, would you, like when you first started playing with people, what did you think?
Well, I mean, I was playing with people since I was young, so
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
not
yeah.
even sure I remember exactly.
He's had harmony in his life the
Yeah.
whole time. That's
Yeah.
pretty awesome.
But speaking of the we principle,
Yeah.
I was thinking about my definition earlier about one or two or more notes played together.
Uh-huh.
But then I realized, we could also harmonize. Like, let's say you're playing a melody
Mhm.
and I'm playing chords. So now I'm not really playing a melody here. You're playing the melody there.
Uh-huh.
So then we are harmonizing together as a duo at
Yes.
that point, right?
Yes.
So so it's the we kind of part of it also that I didn't really even consider.
Yeah.
But when you play out in the world with other musicians and that sort of thing, whether it's two people or a whole orchestra or whatever, yes, you have to harmonize together.
Mm-hmm.
Which I guess you could really put it together with the other parts of music, what we've been talking
Rhythm
about
and
with
melody,
the
yeah,
rhythm, melody, even silence and all that sort of thing. So harmony kind of envelops a lot of those principles, but essentially what you're just trying to do is make sure that it sounds pleasing, right? Rather than dissonant or not pleasing.
Yeah, actually they were talking about, there's like, in the book, it talks about consonants. That's what harmony is versus dissonance. But then, like what you just did right there, I was like, you can make something dissonant.
Oh yeah, more really beautiful.
Yeah, and I'm like, wow, that's a whole nother level
Yeah.
that, like I was like, whoa, that's kind of crazy. Because I'm thinking, in my head, there's only certain harmonies.
Uh-huh.
You know what I mean? Like these two notes go together, these two notes go together, these two notes go together.
Yeah.
But in reality, when you have the dissonance, it could be two different people being in harmony. This is just coming to my head right now.
Yeah.
So I'm like, wow, that's crazy.
Here's a really geeky story for you. So when I was in school learning about harmony and all that sort of thing, they were talking about pipe organs. A lot of people have pipe organs in churches, right?
Yeah.
So the way a pipe organ works is for each note that they play, there's multiple pipes that are actually playing.
Right. I see.
So as we've discussed,
there's multiples? It's not just one?
It's not just one.
Okay.
So as we've talked about with the handpan, like this note or this note, these have harmonics that are tuned to them. So this has a fundamental pitch, an octave, and the fifth, right? So it has this three harmonies that make that pitch. Same thing with a pipe organ. So if you play a C on a pipe organ, you're not just playing the C, you're playing the C fundamental pipe, the C octave pipe, the C fifth pipe, and I think maybe even a pipe above that. I'm not entirely sure. But what I'm getting at is there's multiple pipes playing that one note, and they're harmonizing together just for that one note.
Oh my god, you just blew my mind.
And organs are crazy, man. If you guys ever want to study some really crazy stuff about how music is made, check out pipe organs.
No, like what you just said is that all these notes have three harmonics.
Yeah.
Is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
So all three of those are harmonizing together to have one single note.
True, yeah. So really just a single note is harmonizing with itself. Our ear doesn't immediately perceive it that way. It just perceives it as a D.
No, it's kind of amazing what you just said, because just one single note is a harmony.
Well, yes.
In
certain things can be tuned to just one single pitch, but it usually sounds a little hollow. What would be something that would be tuned like that? It's kind of interesting. It's hard to.
No, okay. I see. I'm totally.
Yeah, even
geeking
flutes,
out right
any musical instrument, trumpets, brass instruments, woodwinds.
Yeah.
Any kind of instrument that produces a tone typically has a harmonic series, is what they call it. Within just that single tone. There are different pitches within, like on a piano, you can play a piano and then look at it on a strobo tuner. And it'll have like the low pitch, it'll have the octave, it'll have the fifth, and it goes on beyond that. It goes to thirds, minor seconds, crazy stuff.
Wow.
Yeah, so just within one note, it harmonizes. But we're not really talking about all that geeky stuff within one note.
But it's like, for example, like, I don't know, if you want to use religion, like the Trinity makes the one. So
sure,
harmony,
right.
There's three harmonies that make the actual one note.
On a
like
handpan,
I just go, see, that's
on a handpan we tune those specifically.
Yeah.
On a wind instrument, they happen naturally.
Oh, okay, I got you.
Yeah,
I got you. But that's cool. Like I like to use the metaphoric way of like going, oh yeah, this in life, and it does work if you think about it. Like going back to what we were talking about, like your melodies, like your cells. In the book, it tells you your cells vibrate, right?
Mm-hmm.
And on a scientific level, they've done this scientifically, and you can be dissonant or you can harmonize with your cells. So it's up to you, and like to find harmony, I think that just makes you feel better. You know what I mean? And like our I think as we're like our cells are all trying to harmonize with each other. You know, and when you're in harmony, you're in good health. When you're not in harmony, then you're dissonant or diseased.
Interesting.
So awesome, Dave. That was rad.
Yeah, interesting stuff. With
Harmony is the expression of soul's desire for balance and connection. That's so crazy, and that's what we kind of want.
I realize we've got another couple.
What?
Another couple.
Oh yeah.
Read off here. I'll left my glasses. Where did I put my glasses?
Here, I'll look at it. All right. Let's see. Actually, we'll just move on from there. Me versus we. I had wrote that down in my little notes here, and that's one of the things. And it's really scary. Actually, for me, in the beginning, it was scary to play with people.
Oh, of course, yeah.
It was weird. Like I would hear our connection.
Yeah, all of a sudden
you're like, whoa, wait a minute, whoa.
Yeah.
Like it freaks you out. But like you have to work into it and play with people as you go along. That's the thing. Actually, we had a customer come in for tuning the other day. Young girl, what was her name? Uni. If you're watching, you're awesome. But she was playing, like I was playing, and then she would harmonize with her voice, which was super cool. And like Dave was like playing with her, and like she was singing, and that was awesome. The voice and the handpan harmonizing together, and it was a we moment. We moment. And actually, and some of our customers, I would play ukulele with the handpan, just so they can see the harmony between different instruments. And that's an amazing thing in itself. I've actually, some of the customers were like, I bought because you played ukulele with me, and I saw it, and I was like, oh God, that's so awesome. So yeah, that's really rad. So incubated rhythm, born in melody, evolved in harmony. So let's look at some comments here. Let's see. Hey Jeff. Let's see. Good morning, Jeff Brown. Chords. Tony Green is going chords. Hey guys, are you gonna play different scales, handpans? That was from CJ. Are we gonna play a different scale?
I've got one. We could play it later. I mean,
we could play it like we have an F sharp here, but most of the time, like for this, it's gonna be D minor. But you can use
that's right
the techniques.
So that's a good question. So
right.
So this is a F equinox handpan here. So this is a D minor. D minor, we call it sunset here. Other people call it Celtic minor. This is the F equinox. So it has a much different sound than the D minor, right? But the same principle applies as far as harmony.
Right.
Oh no, yeah, harmony. So if you have one note and you play another note, you have a harmony now. If you play this note and that note, you have a harmony. If you play three notes together, you have a harmony. If I play these three notes together, I still have a harmony. It sounds a little funky, but that's harmony, right? So again, the principal idea is two or more notes played together.
Yes.
So the idea behind that is, what is pleasing to you? Like, what is it? It kind of becomes a personal thing at that point.
Yeah,
like
if
this is pleasing, cool, right? But the idea is that you're creating
different
more
harmony.
Textures.
Well, like in the rhythm, like you have your bass notes. Like I like to go, hey, do your scales. Like always do your scales, because that's the basis for everything. Now when you're mixing them up, you're finding different harmonies within that actual scale, like Dave was doing.
Yeah.
Like boom, 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 and then when you have two, actually the harmony, the definition of it is relationship between notes and pleasing combinations of differences. So you have two different notes that have pleasing, like Dave said. So that's the harmony definition. So. Yeah, what is our point on that? We basically, you can you have different harmonies in the scale. I think what Dave was saying, but then you can mix it up to do different harmonies.
Yeah, and then actually on the question about different scales of handpans, like these two handpans don't quite work together very well as far as quote unquote harmonizing together. So a lot of people have D minor handpans. We pretty much center ourselves on D minor handpans here at DII unless somebody makes a custom order.
Right.
But if you play with somebody has a D minor handpan, somebody else has a D minor handpan, they will harmonize very readily.
Yeah.
So there might be a note or two that's like a little different here or there. For the most part, though, they will harmonize really well. So like a handpan player, if they have the same scale or something similar, like a D minor and a D minor, will be able to readily walk up to each other and harmonize together. Whereas if you had two piano players, I think you and I were talking about this earlier.
Oh yeah, that's right.
If you had two piano players, both piano player would have to understand like, what the D minor notes are on the piano, what the D minor notes are on the other piano, and make sure that they don't hit all the other notes. Because if they want to harmonize in a pleasing way, kind of like the definition you just talked about, if they want to harmonize in a pleasing way, the scales need to match, right? So in this case, since we both have D minor handpans, our scales match, and so we can harmonize pretty readily. Like if I was to play this one and the F equinox, we would really have to study it a little bit in order to harmonize in a pleasing way.
Right.
So there might be a little bit more work that's done there.
So hopefully that answered your question, CJ, which was, let's see, are you guys going to play different scales for handpans? We will play some a little bit later, but that's the idea behind playing different scales. A lot of people are asking us about like handpans because they buy one and they want to get another one that goes with it. So we'll talk a little bit more about that later, but great question, CJ. Awesome. Actually, he has another question. What motivates you guys to make new music or rhythm? That's a good question.
Oh, yeah, it's totally a great question. Like, what's the inspiration? Frequently it's my mood. My mood will dictate kind of like how I create my music.
Yeah.
So if I'm tired or something like that, I'll just tend to play quiet and slow. The rhythm that I created, I don't know where that came from. Literally, I just
I kind of try different things, especially when I'm doing my practice. Like I'll do different and just make up stuff, and I go, oh, that sounds cool, and then I just go for it. Like usually, like I'll go, I want to hit 4 notes. Like 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, that sounded cool. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, that one sounded cool, and then you just keep doing it. Yeah, and then you add a beat, and then you just, that's what I do to find new rhythms and beats. And like as I practice, because I think this is like a lifelong thing, you're getting in touch with your body. Like one of the things is like going left and right. I noticed in the beginning my right was okay, but my left wasn't. So like if I'm beating and then I stop on my left, it's hard for me to go on. Like I always get out of rhythm.
Oh, sure, yeah.
And so like I knew like I had to get the left going to actually get the things that I actually need. So yeah. And then in harmony wise, what was I gonna say? What was the question? He said, how do I get new ideas? Harmony wise, playing together, that gives us more. So for example, like I'm playing with Dave, right? And he would be doing a beat, and then I go, oh my god, that's awesome, so let me add to that. And then that gives me more ideas on how things work, as I'm harmonizing with somebody that I'm playing. So I think,
On my end, I've I think about things in a structural way because I studied music. So I know like what an A minor chord is versus a D minor chord and that sort of thing. On the handpan, you can kind of split, at least in this scale here, the Celtic minor scale or the sunset scale that we have, which is the D minor. Half of the instrument is D minor, and then the other half is like a C major or A minor. You could also consider it like A minor. So if you just kind of go back and forth, you can harmonize with another player just by playing on the same side of the handpan. So let's just try that. Just like do whatever you want to do. Actually, you play some chords and I'll play like a little melody. that too is, so look, all of a sudden he was playing harmony to my melody,
Yes.
right? We were harmonizing together.
Yes.
The other cool thing that's really kind of neat about that, just by playing from side to side, is I can anticipate when he's going to change.
Yeah, I know.
So just by his moving visually, I can watch his body starting to move to the other side, which makes me think to myself, okay, I need to move my melody in the direction of over there, right? So and then it starts sounding more natural the way I'm taking my melody, because I can just sort of see him moving, and I go, okay, we're going to move to that next chord.
That's pretty interesting you say that, because we're talking about sound harmony, but you're talking about visual harmony.
Movement harmony.
Yeah, it's kind of that's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Well, there's all kinds of that's making me realize, there's all kinds of harmonies in the world, which is wow, that's pretty awesome.
Yeah. So that on these handpans, that's one real easy way to kind of get started with harmony. If you have somebody else to play with that's playing the same scale handpan,
right.
you can just go from one side to the next side, and it really makes it easy.
And then also you don't have to have somebody else. You can also play as long as you know the key of the handpan is D minor, like Dave was talking about. And then if you play with other songs that are in the D minor format. So D minor would be like D minor, A minor, F. There's also B flat you can use. And if the song is in that, you can play to it. And I found songs that are and then you just jam out with the handpan in the background. It's awesome.
So here's another example of playing together with somebody with a D minor, but maybe not the same D minor. So this is a Celtic minor or sunset handpan that we have. And the D minor is on the right, and the A or the C is on the left. If I had a chord, D minor chord, they're both D minor, but slightly different. In that case, the D minor is on the left, and the A minor is on the right.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So it's kind of like a mirror image. But in that case, if you were to look at each other like this, playing straight on,
then you would be on
then your left is my right,
Got
and
it.
my left is your right? So then you can still do that mirror image thing. You're looking at each other, and it makes it that much easier just to kind of realize, they're going to that side, I'm going to this side. So there are some little changes like that you might need to be aware of.
Awesome. Well, hopefully that answered your question. What motivates you guys to make new music? And then the other, let's see. While researching the spiritual, Jeff Brown discovered the handpan by accident while researching the spirituality of the didgeridoo.
Oh yeah, right on.
I've seen that. That's another harmony, playing another instrument. That's pretty rad. Wow, awesome. Thank you guys for all the comments and questions. So, let's see. Harmony, incubated rhythm, The natural force of harmony is to be in balance. It's kind of funny, actually, I had a looper, and I didn't realize I have a looper, but, I was doing, I would start with a handpan, get a loop going with that, and then I would play some flute over it, and then I'm harmonizing with that, and then I was playing ukulele, I would put down, a chord progression or whatever, and then I started doing my voice, and I didn't realize, I was like, I can overlay different things on my voice, and that's when I was like, oh my god, I could hear my voice on one level, and then you go high and then low, and then you put it all together, and you're just like, oh my god, you yourself can create harmonies with your own music. It was amazing. I was like, wow, this is so unbelievable that you can actually do this.
Interestingly, you're talking about the harmony being, what'd you say? Harmony?
Like a high, I go, ooh.
No, what's the definition you said? That harmony has a tendency to want to be in balance?
Oh yeah, natural force of harmony is to be in balance.
The natural force of harmony is to be in balance. So that's what I was talking about with a wind instrument or a string. It has naturally these harmonics that occur in it. So it's kind of true. If you do pluck a string, or if you make play a note on a trumpet or a flute or something like that, you'll see these waveforms if you put it on a strobe tuner device, and it naturally wants to be these things. So if something is slightly flat or sharp or something like that, that's kind of taking it out of balance.
Okay.
But the natural state is to have these things.
To have that, yeah. And it's funny because I think that's how we are in life, and especially nowadays with all the different stress, we're trying to harmonize just with life, you know what I mean? But you have all these stresses that get you, so how do you harmonize, you know what I mean? And that's just playing a pleasing note that goes with that note, I guess. And that's what we're looking for in life. Like we're always looking for harmonies all the time.
It's almost like we're talking about the harmonies of the string or of the sound.
Yeah.
Like this has a fundamental octave and fifth. They're all harmonizing together.
Yeah.
But let's say in life one of those things is out of balance, like you're working too much. It's almost like one of those is out of tune.
Yeah.
You need to work less and bring it back into tune.
Yeah, and then or bring it back into tune, and then that's when you know, like, hey, I need to work on something, and that's what.
Yeah.
Actually, that's a good way to think about it.
Yeah.
I absolutely love that. Awesome. I see another question. I'm like, oh, I see another good. Let's see. Oh no, that wasn't it. Hertz also impacts Jeff Brown. Hertz also impacts playing together, right? Is 440 with 440? Ooh,
Yeah,
432 with 430.
Yeah,
that question
great
was
questions. Great questions. Yeah, so
harmonies with different frequencies. Interesting.
Yeah. So again, like if we take it all the way back, just the harmonic series of a string or a natural flute or a natural trumpet sound or something like that, it doesn't really matter at that point which hertz it is. If you just play a single note on a trumpet, if it's 440, it's going to have these natural occurrences of a fundamental octave, fifth, and that sort of thing. If you took it to 432, it's going to have the same kind of orientation of those harmonics in that sound, but they're just going to be lower. But it's just going to be.
Can they harmonize together if you play them all three different
so
levels?
The problem is they work together individually, like with a 432 or a 440.
Yeah.
But if you try to put those together, then they become dissonant.
Dissonant. Oh, okay.
So I think the answer to your question is no. You can't, in our Western ears, perhaps, or like what we're talking about, making it align. Or the natural tendency is for it to align. It will align if you're all on the same frequency. But if you're on a different frequency, 440 versus 432, they won't align properly. And there's always going to be a little bit of distance. And I wish I had some handpans here that are 432 to kind of show you that difference. But it'll just kind of rub a little bit, and people are going to go, something's wrong. It sounds a little funny. So even if they don't know exactly what the problem is, they're just going to be like, something's wrong. And they might not be able to put their finger on it. But that's what would happen. So
I mean, that's kind of interesting because, like, so if it's like, well, we'll just use 432, 440. So if it's 432 and it's down a bit, does it just move over? Will it meet up with the 440?
No.
Will there be a same note or almost the same?
It gets to mathematics.
That's what I'm.
Yeah.
Like I'm thinking of a line, 440, this one here. So it's a little bit down. So if you move it over, it's kind of like scales,
Yeah. So like the number 440, it's how many waves there are per second in that note. 440 wave frequencies or peaks or whatever they are within that second of time. So if you move that to 432, that means there's 432 rather than 440.
Okay, I got it.
So a fifth or an octave above that is divised off of that number. So the numbers, like even if it was mathematical, 440 wouldn't match 432. They're two different numbers. So that frequency would be rubbing. And even if you go into the thousands, or like say it's a frequency of 10,000, 440 might be a 10,000 number. 432 might be 9,172. So, right, it's not 10,000, so they don't match.
Right.
Yeah.
And yeah, that number thing, it just trips me out because like I get that question because we get it all the time. Like, is it 432, 440? And there's a huge battle with it. Like, do you want to play with other instruments like piano? Most of them are 440. Yeah. And then you have the 432 that's supposed to be the spiritual, the earth frequency and all that. And, I guess it depends on how you're going to use it.
It does. Yeah.
Like we're, next month we're having a Reiki session with spiritual healing and stuff like that. And we're just going to play 440. So you can do either or. And I think it's definitely up to the person or whoever's playing, what they want to do. I think like music therapists, they're really into the frequencies because they do have charts like this helps you with this helps you with this helps you with this, and I believe that on certain frequencies it can help you with certain things. So.
Oh, and by the way, since we're talking about frequencies, I love this subject. So right now in our Western world, we have 440 is the standard. Right, so pretty much every instrument out there is tuned to 440, A440.
Right.
But in history, 100 years ago, 200 years ago, it wasn't always 440.
Right.
Sometimes it was 438. Sometimes it was like the normal one was for something else.
I've read this.
Yeah. And so we've just kind of come to an agreement socially, I guess.
That 440.
That 440 is the normal one. And so over time, who knows? Maybe in the future the normal one will be 432. Maybe we're all going to gravitate towards that at some point.
I think it has changed over time. Like if I was reading up on it, and they're like, oh yeah, it used to be this, and then and then they just settled on 440. So
yeah. And I don't quite remember why they said
I don't remember either. I think it's just, I don't know.
But I do know that a lot of marimbas and xylophones and that sort of thing are tuned to 442.
Ooh, why is that?
And the reason they do that is because if you're playing in an orchestra or a band, they want those sounds to kind of shimmer above the rest of the orchestra.
See, that's what I'm talking about. So like if you have they were playing with 440, they're just, it's working because they're playing, I don't know.
It just gives a little bit of edge.
Yeah.
A little bit of an edge and kind of shimmers above the rest.
I guess it would matter. So you can actually be dissonant but still be in harmony, just like I said. If you
it's how much dissonance are you willing to take?
Interesting.
Yeah.
No, because sometimes like in a song you'll hear that, but that's like the best part of the song because it's like just a little bit dissonant, and you're like, whoa, what did they just do? And they changed it over.
And so, even on that point, I've heard culturally, like certain singers I've heard in the old Trinidadian calypso songs, they frequently sing a little sharp. And I've heard the same kind of thing in a lot of like Mexican music. Sometimes the singers are just pushing it a little sharp.
Yeah.
And I've always thought, wow, they're sharp, but I think maybe that's just what they're looking for. Yeah, it's not like wrong.
It's not wrong.
It's what they're looking for.
No, that's not wrong. And that actually, what you just said, like, there's no wrong way to play. And I've been seeing that a lot. Like people want to be like right, like, oh, am I doing it right? Am I doing it right? You have your own music. But like you want to learn the basics and stuff like that, but there's no right or wrong. Just try it. I say just try it, so that's good. But harmony, actually, I wanted to go to something else too. To be in balance, 4 agreements, harmony, playing together. Oh yeah, your relationships. Now, rhythm is practice. I feel for like you're getting in touch with your body. Melody is you're finding your song. And you're looking for that song that you want to express. Now, harmony is your relationships with people. Also, to me, it's like kind of, I don't know, not your goals, but what do you do with your music afterwards? You know what I mean? And like a lot of people have that question because they're playing at home, they're getting better. Like, what do I do? You know what I mean? And it's same with me. And I was like, yeah, where am I going with this? I know I love to play music, you know, stuff like that. And what harmony is kind of like, what do you harmonize with? You know what I mean? Like there's actually like when I feel like I love playing with Dave because I can harmonize with him all day long. He's really good at it. Some people it takes a little bit, you know, you have to work at. Some people you just don't want to. No, to be honest, like you just don't want to harmonize with that person or whatever it is. But it's your relationships. It's kind of like there's a word for this and it's called entrainment. They say it in the book. And entrainment is basically like, have you ever met somebody that you're like, man, I felt like I've known you forever. You know what I mean? And you just have these great conversations. And to me, that harmony is amazing because you guys are like on it the same wavelength or the vibes. I've been hearing a lot about vibing. You know, we say this all the time, but it's absolutely true. If you vibe with each other, it's like, yeah, that's cool. And that's like in music, being able to harmonize with other instruments helps you with your relationships to harmonize with other people because it opens up. I don't know. It feels like I want to harmonize with a lot of, like, I want to see how this works with the flute, which I've tried, or I want to see how this works with the ukulele. Someone said didgeridoo. Like, all these harmonies I want to explore, and it just opens up a whole new world of, hey, we could do all this stuff. Because I think as you progress, you're going to get inspiration from other people, and you take those harmonies and you make them your own. So.
Yeah, you had made a couple of good points that I wanted to follow up on.
Yeah, go do
that. Earlier you said when you were beginning, and even like I feel this way about my present self, sometimes if I'm playing with somebody that's quote unquote better than me, and let's say I'm singing, because I'm not a natural comfortable singer. If I sing with somebody that's really good and I start to harmonize with them and I realize, oh, we're having a moment, it's almost scary.
It is scary.
Scary.
It is. It's like, whoa.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I don't know why that is.
And then you're talking about harmonizing with yourself. We're talking about harmonizing with ourselves. And my point of all this is, I was recently reading a book.
Ooh.
It's called The Inner Game of Tennis.
Inner Game of Tennis. Dave's been playing tennis.
I've been playing tennis recently. And it's a classic book, but he ultimately talks about self-1 and self-2. So inwardly. Mm-hmm. So sometimes, let's say, because we have customers come in and say, hey, I want to learn how to play better. I feel like I'm doing it wrong. I suck. I can never do it right. So what you're saying is, you're talking to yourself in two ways. I can't do it. Okay, who's I? Right? Or, right? And like,
no, I have a whole thing on I. It's
exactly.
Like
so who is I within yourself? So a lot of times somebody will say something about their playing or saying that I can't do it right or I never get it right. But it's almost like you're talking one person to another person.
Yes.
Right? So who are these two entities? So in the book they talk about the self-1 and self-2.
Oh, God.
And ultimately self-1 is like the critical self. And then self-2 is this kind of ambiguous, like, who are you talking to?
Yeah.
And he was essentially saying it's your body and it's just the natural way your brain thinks and the way your muscles react and everything. Mm-hmm. But you can't put a name on it, or you can't really put a voice on it because it's a real nebulous kind of concept. Mm-hmm. But I think what we're talking about is when we get into a situation where we're singing with somebody or harmonizing with somebody, you kind of get scared. That's self-1 talking to you. So self-2 knows how to do these things naturally.
No, you're right.
So self-2 is just your body, is just your intuition, it's just your muscles and your brain. Because like when you were small and you were learning how to walk or when you were learning how to talk, you weren't telling yourself, man, that first step, that sucked. I should have gotten that first step better. Everybody else is doing that first step better. Right? No, so you learn over time, somehow the self-1 develops and the self-2 is what you naturally learn how to do things. So when we get to that part of harmonizing, when we're talking about harmonizing, do your best to try to realize that you have a self-1 that might be giving you negative thoughts or fears. And try to just relax that self-1 and then concentrate more on self-2, which is your natural almost childlike way of enjoying and playing, right? So that was a really fascinating part of the book, and then I was reading going, okay, this doesn't just pertain to tennis. This pertains to a lot of things.
No, it does, and that's what I've been finding out with the 4 principles, and actually just teaching music in general. Like I was always wondering, like I said before, what am I teaching? You know what I mean? It's like I'm not musically theory, and basically it's everybody has music, and you that's what you want to get out of it. You are an instrument. This is just a tool to express yourself. That's all it is.
And interestingly, the 4 principles, to me, what the 4 principles do, which is, again, the 4 principles are rhythm, melody, harmony, and silence, and we've been talking about those in a series of these videos. Those are kind of taking self-1 out of it.
Yes.
So if we have the self-1 and self-1 is the critical self, self-2 is the more natural way of learning, the intuitive self. Because if all of a sudden you think you need to learn a scale out of a book, and that's the way it works. It's right there in the book. It's written down. I couldn't do it. That means I'm wrong, and I'm going to criticize myself, right? So, it's almost like harmony is kind of also the balancing of self-1 and self-2.
Dave, you said a lot of things, and actually no, because it's funny you said it because I've read these things in the book, and I'm like you were talking about the I, and actually one of the things I've been working on is like just saying your I am. Who is the I? Yeah, and that's it's like when you start thinking about that, you're like, whoa. Yeah. You are talking to yourself, and you actually it's your soul, and like he was saying, like we have all these automatic things like walking, breathing. Do you have to tell yourself to breathe? Yeah. Are you critical of the way you breathe? Yeah. Like, I wasn't breathing. That breath sucked. You know what I mean? Like no. I don't breathe nearly as well as that. Yeah, exactly. And music, if you think of it this way, it's already part of you. You know what I mean? It's just like a breath. And it's a weird feeling because we've never been taught that. And life is musical, I believe. Like if you look at all these things and you put the metaphors to it, you're just like, hey, wait a minute. life is more musical than we really think. It's kind of crazy. There's a freak up and down.
Yeah.
There's there's positive, negatives, and then the flow of life. How is your song? All this stuff. It's just amazing to me, and I love that I'm exploring this part of it because music has I found that I'm musical, and I think we all should be musical, and that's why like harmony. Just think of this. Wars happen because people are not in harmony.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? They think two different things, and then once the ego dissonant, you can't. It's just you just have a conflict. Mm-hmm. It's kind of crazy to think about it, but harmony is your relationships with people. It's pretty crazy. Harmony is that. What are you gonna do? I found that I love to share. I love to share music and try to find how to get the music out of you that you already have. That's I think my superpower for actual music. And then just working on the harmony, because the more I think as you open yourself up and you invite more people to learn about their harmonies or their rhythm or whatever, it makes you stronger. They always say this, teacher learns more than the students.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
And it's absolutely true. It is absolutely true. So now that I'm learning all this stuff, I want to put it back out there because it's a lot of information. It's from all different places, and when you can find the commonalities, it becomes like a fact. Like, this is it. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, this is how it works. So harmony, I think, is very important. It's one of the it's a scary thing to actually harmonize with people and be open to that. But once you actually do it, you evolve, and it creates a
You know what I think it is? It's interesting. That scary moment. It's almost like we have created our persona. As you grow up, you figure out who you are. Mm-hmm. This is who I am.
Yeah.
But
you're going into
right?
it. Yes, go.
But when you start reaching out and doing something new, and you become harmonizing with somebody, it's like there's a new part of you that's inside that's experiencing a new relationship with a person.
Yes.
And that's the scary part, because you're like, wait a minute, I thought I knew who I was. Now I don't know who I am. I'm out of my little element. And that's why we kind of get scared and nervous.
That makes
after a while, like as a more professional musician, you're able to more willingly and easily walk up to somebody because you already know who your musical self is.
Yes, exactly.
And you already know, where you're at. I don't know. And so it's a little bit of an easier. But even like you'll see professional musicians walk up to somebody that's even like more professional. Like it's like at the top of their game. The name is so amazing. They've heard it for like 50 years. This person's been, top of the charts, or whatever. That other they'll get nervous when they're with that person because they're like, who is this person that's way up here versus me that is down here, or whatever.
Yeah.
It's just interesting the way that our psyche works with that.
No, and like to understand the harmony, I think it just helps because there's a lot of like anxiety about being around people, like especially now it's like kind of crazy. But if you can feel those harmonies, then it's just easier to talk to people, open up, get your information that you need, and then make yourself better. I love like what she talks in the book. It's about evolving, and harmony is that evolution. Like I had the ukulele class, and a question came up: what happens when you hit a dead zone? Like you're like, oh, I don't know what to do. And actually, one of the things was to play with other people.
Sure.
Because you've done enough for yourself.
No, absolutely. That's great.
You're like, you've hit that point, and then you're like, what do I do next? Now it's we, and like you share it out to other people. So awesome.
Yeah, that's great.
There's some.
And by the way, the good news with all this, we're talking about like the fears that are developed from sometimes playing harmonies with other or harmonizing with somebody else or just playing with them. But the good news is handpan, like we were talking about earlier. It's one of the most intuitive instruments. People love it, I think, because it's not like a piano where you have to learn all the scales. You've just basically got the one scale right in front of you, and you're able to harmonize very quickly.
All right, so Tonya, first question, recommendations for stands or stools. Hi, Tonya, how you doing? I'll give you that, and then actually the next question, so what do you guys are saying? This is CJ. So what you guys are saying, it comes to as why I'm possibly getting stuck. Oh, okay, that's cool. There's moments where I listen to others play and you get this motivation, but when you pick up the instrument, you blank out.
Oh, okay, yeah.
All right, so stands, I'll answer the stands question. I think Dave has something for blanking out, but this stand is probably, this is my favorite one. It's the Traveler stand, and I like it because it just folds up and you can like mount it to whatever or just carry it. It has the string which you can carry it around your shoulders. But it, like stands and stools, it depends on where you are. Like if you're traveling, I have one of those chairs, the triangle chairs like this, but it has the seat, like a camping chair. Those work really well, but it depends on the height. Because everybody's like different sizes. Mm-hmm. This does adjust up and down, like
just a little bit.
Like just a little bit by a couple inches. But I believe the seat that you actually get, like right now, I'm in a kind of a good position. See how Dave is taller? So he's in a different position, but we're on the same size seat. So I just adjust everything, and his adjustment's going to be different also.
Yeah. Another thing too is you can kind of adjust the angle of the handpan. So if it's sort of flat on a stand, you can adjust it so your knees kind of fit underneath it if you've got longer knees or whatever.
Yeah. And then if you don't have, well, you can play with the bottom notes in your lap. That's probably like the best. Like the triangle seat on your lap is really good because your feet are really close to the floor and it gives it a good flat position. And like here, like for me, I have shorter legs, so my legs are kind of angled, so my pants sits down like this and it kind of slips out. Like I've done that like sitting on a rock in the woods, but your feet are dangling. It's hard to play the handpan because your hand is like slipping. So I think as long as your feet are flat on the floor, that's it. That's probably the perfect size for whatever you're trying to do. And then on the stand, I usually, I mean, you probably can see this. I get all up into it like that with the stand, and you can stand on it. And these stands are really good. You can stand in the middle of this and it won't break. So, and I've done it. It's pretty
cool. Yeah, Daniel.
I like to test them out and just be like, yo, this is cool. All right, and then
the point was blanking. So
blanking. Oh yeah, and then the next one is, so you guys are saying I'm possibly getting why he's getting stuck, and then when he listens to others, and then blanking out.
Yeah. So listening to others, first of all, is great, excellent way of learning how to play. In my own experience, listening and then writing it out, and I know not everybody knows how to write out music, but that was like a very powerful way of learning what the other person is doing and understanding more fully like exactly what they're doing, and then somehow you internalize it more. But my experience with blanking, let's put it this way. So I would play a lot of steel drum gigs back in the old days. I was playing more steel drum gigs in the 90s and the 2000s. And on occasion, like we would play solos. So it'd be like, okay, you're playing a duo, you're going to take a solo, and then after you're done, I'll take a solo. You're going to trade solos, right? Every once in a while, you just wouldn't think of anything. You'd be like, well, I don't know what to play. Like all of a sudden you just kind of blank out, especially sometimes if it's in a certain atmosphere where maybe you're playing for an audience and they're like all watching you to play the best solo they've ever heard, right? So the pressure is on, right? Yeah. So sometimes you get that blankness because you're thinking, oh man, I need to play the best solo because they're all waiting for me to play the best solo they've ever heard. Mm-hmm. Or let's say you're playing just in a casual environment in a backyard somewhere for somebody's pool party and you're just trading solos. But sometimes you play a solo and then after you play some notes for a while, then you're kind of like, well, I just played a bunch of notes. I don't know what else to play now. I'm kind of lost. I don't know exactly. So there's times when I've kind of blanked out too, right? Yeah. You just kind of blank out and you don't really know what to do next. But I think what it is I think internally you're trying to imitate what you did. Like if you were listening to somebody else, you're trying to imitate them. Mm-hmm. And so you're blanking because you're like, I can't remember what they did. I'm trying to imitate them and I can't remember. And so you blank out because you're really trying to achieve something that might be above your level, or that you're nervous about or you feel uncomfortable with. And so you blank out, I think, internally. Whereas I think if you return to your childlike self and play more simply.
Yes.
And just concentrate more on the feel of the instrument. Like, oh, it felt great.
Yeah. Right? Be more playful.
Or be more playful with it. It will probably allow your brain to relax and come up with some interesting ideas. They're not always ideas that you might think would be like the best ideas or the perfect idea, that sort of thing. Mm-hmm. But over time, I think if you return to that playful self, that childlike self, and just do simpler things. Try not to be playing as fast and loud as the other person. Mm-hmm. Play soft and slow, right? Mm-hmm. Or fewer notes, and just be more gratified with playing less.
Yes.
Frequently, people, especially beginners, think they need to play more in order to be quote-unquote good. But it doesn't really, you don't have to play more. Some of the best players in the universe, or the one that comes to mind right now is Miles Davis.
Yeah.
He would play one note, and you're like, oh, that was amazing. he would just play boo-dee-dee-bop-bop, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and just let it sit there. And meanwhile, the rhythm section is be-doo-bop, just like a couple notes. But they sounded so good.
Wow.
Right? Whereas some other player might be trying going, and if you're going to try to do that, you're going to find yourself in a world of hurt, especially if you're a beginner, intermediate that's trying to get to that level. You're going to get frustrated and not going to be super fun. So just realize that there's professionals out there and there's really amazing players that don't play a lot of notes, and you don't need to. You're looking for something that represents you internally and just allow yourself to be who you are.
Yeah. No, and I think I see this a lot, like, especially when I was doing ukulele cover songs. Like, one of the things I had a problem with there was, like, do I have to do it exactly like the song that I hear?
Yeah.
I'm like, and then what I found was, like, as I was practicing these songs, I was trying to imitate it, like, completely, like, from the radio. And, like, some songs I just couldn't get. And then what was funny was when I relax and I just go, I'm just going to play it and then use my own voice, then it came out, like, super amazing. I was like, whoa, that was cool. And it was a different way to play it, everything, but it sounded good because it was coming from me, my soul, my harmony, whatever that is. And like, I think that apprehension, to get it right causes people to freeze up, like, oh, that doesn't sound right, like what you're saying. And then going back to the childlike thing, like, I believe this, we're all programmable biological computers. We've been programmed, whether you like it or not. And actually the young Uni came in here, she's like, yeah, it feels like we just forgot how to be imaginative and childlike. We have like these set things, but we just forget how to be open and stuff. And like what you're saying, going back to the childhood, I think is amazing because you're closer to, imagination and coming up with like different ideas. Like when you're a kid, just think about that. Like all the things right now, like I teach a bunch of young children. I love it because they have that childhood thing, and it's funny because I have these conversations with them and they are more insightful than a lot of people. It's so crazy. I'm like, wow, really? You think? I go, wow. And it's because they have no inhibitions. They're not like, inundated or programmed already. And some people are saying that, like, yeah, it just feels like if I need something else. And that's why people are coming to the Handpan. That's why you're watching, and you're looking for something else. And that's the beauty of harmony, I think. Because like it's funny because everybody like I talked to that wanted the Handpan said they just heard it. They just heard that sound and then it just came to them and it harmonized with them. You know what I mean? It grabbed them and goes, whoa. And they some people spend years trying to figure out what it was, and then when they do find it, it takes them like, hey, where can I get it? And that's where they come here. Everybody's story is the same. It's like pretty funny. So it's like weird how that comes about, and I'm glad we're talking about this because, I think a lot of people want these answers.
Oh yeah.
So
yeah,
cool. I think we have one more comment. Where are we at right now? Boom, boom. Oh yeah, we've been on it right now. Oh my gosh. So actually, I think if you guys don't have any more questions, I think that's Any last words? I think that was the last words on harmony. There's so much more to it. Like I was reading this section again, and if you guys have, please, like, I'm not trying to sell books here, but it's just, it's like the information is so good. Like if you're a striving musician or even a musician that's like CJ was talking, got stuck, read this book because then it'll take you, like, one of the things I like is going back to the basics. Slowing down, and then once we talk about silence, I think that's going to be huge. It's going to bring it all together with rhythm, melody, harmony, and silence. You'll see how that can work for you and get you to where you want to be on the handpan, whether it's healing, whether you want to be a better player, whether, you know, whatever it is, you know, that you're striving to do. This can definitely, I believe, help you. So
yeah.
Cool.
I love the idea of harmonizing with others, though. Like when you said when people get into a rut or whatever, if you play with other people. Like I was just talking about playing with other people and then feeling like a little bit apprehensive because you're trying to be just like them.
Yeah.
But another idea is like if I'm playing with 3 players and the bass player takes a solo and then the other guy takes a solo and then I take a solo, if I tried to imitate them, I would fail.
Yeah.
So you have to allow yourself just to be yourself.
Yep.
And remember that, yeah, I could take some ideas from what they just played, but if I try to imitate them exactly, it's going to be a rough road.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I might ultimately be able to do it, but it's going to be a rough road.
Yeah.
So allow yourself the freedom to enjoy yourself and be who you are.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're a fast player, go for it. Enjoy the fastness. If you're a slower player, enjoy the slowness. Mm-hmm. Or, you know, just dabble with both. And just explore it like a child would explore it, and you're going to be really successful.
No, I like that. I like the childhood feeling because everything's open. Like nothing's impossible. You're willing to try new things, you know, and you know, just go for it. It's just an instrument. You're not going to hurt yourself.
Yeah, right.
Like if you hit 2 dissonant notes, you're like, oh, what the? That actually is.
Yeah,
So you really can't. It's hard to not mess up, and that's the fear that we've all been like. Oh, I don't want to mess up. You know what I mean? I don't care what. I don't want people to hear my badness, but you know, you have to be bad before you're good, and the more bad you are, I think you're gonna be better. So.
But again, like you just did, he tried making a bad sound, and was like, hey, I kind of liked it. So.
Yeah.
But he allowed himself the freedom to say, hey, I liked it.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? You didn't say to yourself, oh, I screwed up.
No.
Right?
And I go, whoa, that was kind of cool.
Yeah, that's kind of cool. Yeah, so that's exactly what you need to do, I think.
Yeah.
Is when you're learning how to play on your own, just go ahead and reach for some notes and just realize, oh, that's actually kind of cool. Mm-hmm. Well, like if you hit these 2, this is what I think you're looking for. Right?
Yeah, that's
just realize that, oh, if you play other notes, hey, now it's pleasing. So you can kind of just work with it.
And that's the heart. Actually, wow. Yeah, in the moment, you can harmonize. Like once you play, you're looking for that harmony, and then you just find it. Actually, well, that's when I'm doing solos with Dave. That's what happens. Like I'm just playing, and I'm like, oh yeah. So maybe we'll just leave you with some playing.
Do you want to harmonize a little bit?
Yeah, let's harmonize. Right. I think there's one last thing. Is the book on Audible. I'm not sure, CJ. Just look up Music Medicine, Christine Stevens. It probably is. The book was copyrighted in 2012, so it might be. I'm not sure. So hopefully that.
So I'm playing these notes separately here, but they're harmonizing because they're 2 notes and 2 notes. So harmony is 2 or more notes played together. And then you can do your thing.
play with Dave, if you ever get a chance to play with Dave, you got to. It's he's so good.
Well, we definitely have fun together. So.
No, we absolutely have fun.
So there you go, harmonizing together.
Yeah, harmonizing together. You guys practice it. Entrainment's the word. Your soul wants to express itself with harmony and balance. Practice with rhythm, right? Find your song in melody, or find the language of music in melody, and then learn to harmonize with people. And then the next 2 weeks, we're going to talk about silence. I believe this is the most powerful thing, is silence.
Silence, yeah, it's a good one.
It's weird because you go through all those three, usually in music, but then when it comes to silence, that's usually the last one that people realize, and then like in music, and then because like right now in ukulele, like I'm spacing everything.
Yeah.
Like, and I do it slow. Oh my God, it's so good. If you do everything like slow, listen to the notes, you will hear the harmonies.
Yeah.
You gotta listen to hear the harmonies. So, I'm glad we're here today.
Yep.
Dave, you got anything for these guys?
We're good. I think we're good. Thanks for tuning in.
Yeah, next month we're gonna have some great events. Actually, I think Handpan back in store practice might be happening. So check out our events this week. If you guys are local and you want to come and jam some handpans together and learn all this stuff in person, we'll be having some free classes for that. So, and then I know we have some Reiki events that are coming, and we're going to be doing some cool stuff. So pay attention to the events. We have handpans available. What was one of the things? Oh yeah, handpans are available. And I think that's it. You guys have a beautiful Saturday, and I hope to see you guys in the next couple of weeks.
Yep, see you there.
Enjoy.
Thanks a bunch for tuning in.
Yay. Everybody saying thank you, Star.